Yes. Hi, Belinda. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Hello, Mighty. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. What a treat.
I'm so happy. It's such an honor. I have to say, when I first saw you on Gaia, I was just starting my spiritual path. I just subscribed to Gaia and you appeared magically on my screen. And even if at that point I was quite skeptical and very much left brain and not so much into angels, something about the way you shared and the energy that could just come across the screen in such a powerful way, I was hooked. And so I kept working with you. And the more I know you, the more I'm so mesmerized and impressed by all the changes you make in the world and in the life of your students and all the people who are following you and learning from you. So thank you so much for your work and for everything you do for the collective.
Well, thank you for everything that you do. And, I was just looking at your astrology before our podcast, and it's clear that you are a consciousness shifter. And you are here to help others really connect with what matters, that they matter.
Yeah.
That they matter,
Yeah.
that they are God's gift, whatever word you want, language you want to use for God, creator, source. And so the angels thank you for your mission. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for this message. So for some of you guys, girls, chicas, que no conocéis a una Belinda, those of you who still don't know Belinda, she's a spiritual messenger. Belinda, you're an incredible channel of the 12 Archangels. You're author of 2 books now, one of which has just been translated in Spanish. I have it here. I have it in English, actually. 12 Archangels, messages from the 12 Archangels, which I love. Mensajes de los 12 Arcángeles, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And you're a mentor also to so many people, including me. So just before we dive deep into how to call on the angels, who are they? How can we make miracles in our lives? I really would like to ask a few questions for people to get to know you more. First of all, you have always been such a clear channel, intuitive healer since childhood, right? So how did that start? And how did that look like?
Well, so Mighty, let's just, this is going back in history. I was a very sensitive child, and I definitely could connect with angels. I needed to. My childhood was completely crazy. But then I shut everything down around age 12, and my ability to communicate with angels and guides in heaven, it did not open until I was working as a scientist at a medical university, and I was working on a stem cell sample. And this is over 3 decades ago now. And I had a visitation from the Archangel Gabriel. So that was quite a shocker. And what I realize now is that I had a brain switch. I went from left brain to right brain, or masculine brain to feminine brain. And when that switch happened, that's when everything changed. It definitely was a very, very big change to go from being a biologist, I have 2 masters in science, to working for the 12 Archangels. Yeah, big change.
And so how did this change happen? Because it's a big switch for sure. And for a person that had kind of shut down their ability, what happened, like specifically for you to say, okay, guys, I believe you, I'm going to follow you, and I'm going to quit my job to serve you?
Well, excuse me. So the message from Archangel Gabriel was, you need to help human beings remember that they are God's divine children. And Gabriel made it clear, Belinda, you're going to resist us, but we will win. We will win. This is your calling of your soul, right? Of your true path. And so it was completely crazy for a while, because I didn't know what that meant until, and I was really struggling. It was a few months, and I'm like, okay, everything just was changing. There were angels everywhere. I was starting to know all these things about people. Like my intuition just blew open. And so I did leave my job. And then shortly after that, I said, okay, angels, how do I earn a living? I didn't know that angels knew how to help a person earn a living, but I was really sinking fast because I was around 29 or 30 at that time. And I didn't have any other financial support other than my job, no family support. And I loved their response because they said, well, we were waiting for you to ask us.
Oh, I love that response too, because I was going to ask, that happens so much when we don't trust, because we say, I'm not going to have any money anymore. I just have to make something happen. And I love it that how much we forget to actually just ask for help, right?
Well, asking for help, especially when you're pushed against the wall, is really critical. And I can't encourage people enough to do that. Ask for help. Angels, the reason that they want us to ask for help is because then that begins to develop a relationship between us and the spiritual or unseen world, that there really is help for us at a vibration of pure love. They're just pure loving kindness angels. And so they came through and they told me exactly what I was going to do at that time. They told me I was going to channel some material, which I had never done. That was in writing. And then I was going to teach a class from that material. And from that class, my very first client called me up and said, I need help with my business. And out of my mouth came, oh, I can help you with that. And
out of your mouth. It wasn't planned.
No, none of this was planned.
I love it.
So I would say yes to make it look, glossy and shiny, one miracle after another, but to be absolutely honest and transparent, it was surrender. I had to surrender. And a lot of, okay, show me, because my whole life was based on survival. I was in charge. I was in control. That's the way I had to be. And to, really surrender to spirit. And again, I can see the angels clairvoyantly with my heart, but it's not like the way I see you. And so it's very different.
I love that. You said so many things I want to ask you questions about. So I'm going to start with maybe one thing that is not so important in the mind of angels, but for us human, we love to know that. And how was your experience when you say like your channels got completely opened and you started seeing things and understanding things about people? What did that look like specifically? I think that's such a cool thing to hear when you're not that kind of psychic. So let us know a little bit.
Okay, so we all have this wonderful thing called the third eye or cave of Brahma. It's a chakra. It's a place where we open to what the angels call and others the feminine, intuitive, creative brain, which is really the heart. It opens us to heaven. It's a vibrational doorway where when that door opens, we can communicate with loved ones in heaven. We can communicate with ascended masters. We can communicate with angels. But what's really important to understand is that that door doesn't open unless we know what it feels like to live from heart. And heart is unconditional love. So that's the inner child, the divine inner child, that innocent, trusting place within us. So the first thing that happened to me is I had a dream where I got to meet my little Belinda. And that's the truth. So she came first, then the visit from Archangel Gabriel. And through that time after Gabriel came, that's when I call it my tuner. That's when my tuner really opened up and I had a flood of knowing. So it's very important for your listeners to know that especially women have a very strong sense of intuitive knowing. And it's something that we feel in our bodies. And that's actually the most accurate and trustworthy form of intuition. And when we see, or we see beyond clairvoyance, that's something that the angels say, well, be careful with that, because you've got to be able to feel that intuition with your body, that, that gut. Is it a yes? Is it a no? What does my heart say? And it's okay to ask again and again. So for myself, I have what's called all the clairs, which just means to see beyond, feel beyond, know beyond, hear beyond. Sometimes I even smell beyond, because the divine mothers will come in with a scent of jasmine and roses that wow, where did that come from? But a lot of people believe that just to feel is not enough. But that's actually the most precise form of intuitive knowing. It's when you know it, you don't know why you know it, and you know it and you feel it because you're feeling truth.
Yes.
And then to see an image to go with that, it's just icing on the cake. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, totally. And I think that's so important to point out, because in the movies, it's always that clairvoyance, right? Which is so cool. And the real psychic are actually clairvoyant. So it actually makes a lot of sense. And for me, when I was learning with you, it really relaxed me into accepting my gifts and not waiting for their clairvoyance to come, and really not, or taking for granted all the other clairs that I really had, and I was constantly doubting. So that's definitely so important, I guess, and I know for us to understand. And so while we're talking about these clairs, do we have to have the clairs developed in order to ask the help of the angels? Or how can we ask them for the help? Yes.
Asking for help from angels and for asking for help from loved ones in heaven, ancestors that are part of our family lineage, and from ascended masters and deities that we may be connected with. Maybe that's Master Jesus or Buddha or Lady Venus. There's so many. They want to help us. And for us to ask for help starts to open many doorways within our humanity that have been shut down for lots of reasons, but they mostly get shut down because of fear and because of society or religion or political reasons from past lives or from this life that tell us we're not supposed to ask for help. And lots of times we're even taught that as children, like to ask for help is weak. It means that, well, what's wrong with you, that you aren't smart enough and that you can't do it yourself. Or we're taught that to ask for help is being needy, again, being weak. But when we ask for spirit's help, in whatever way that is, but certainly angelic help, we're going to start to experience that help in ways that we can't really imagine. And that starts to awaken a lot of magic within us, miracles within us. And that promotes awakening to being able to connect with soul, the divine part of us that's guiding us. It really, if we let soul take the steering wheel of our car that we're moving through life, things just really start to get better. And so that's what angels help with. They really help us in many, many infinite numbers of ways, but they help us to connect with our divinity.
Yes. I love that so much. And, sometimes I read or I hear that we have to ask the angels for help in such a specific way, and the sentence has to look that way, and you have to say this, and you have to call on this angel for that and this other angel for this. And if you don't get it right, well, nothing's going to happen. And so people get so confused. So could you address that and tell from your perspective, how specifically can we ask for help to the angels, the diva, and all these entities that are here for us?
It's very simple. Help me.
I love that.
Yeah, help me. So there are, from the perspective of the 12 archangels, which is the community of angels that I channel, and they do not believe in hierarchy. They do not believe or teach that archangels are above guardian angels,
yes,
or above fairies. They say that hierarchy is something, that's such a hard word for me to say.
Hierarchy. It's quite difficult to say, actually.
Yeah. Well, the structure of that, where, you have one thing that's better than
Yes.
another. They say it's a human invention.
Right.
Angelic realms have different assignments. So archangels have the assignment of helping, often spiritual healers that are here to help people to wake up, to open their lives to receiving, to plug into source so that life gets better. Guardian angels help us in all the mundane ways of life. But again, all angels help us, right? They help us to receive. They help us to trust. They help us to feel safe when we feel afraid. The easiest way that I have found to connect with any angel is you say thank you, because the words thank you raise your vibration. You're bringing in gratitude. So when you say, thank you, angels, for rescuing my tushy, they understand us. They appreciate us. So when we say thank you for your help, right? Thank you. Thank you for helping me. I don't know what I need, right? But thank you for helping me.
I love
That's
that.
the way.
I love it. And it's, well, in a manifesting perspective, also, we use the thank you as it is already done, right? Because if I say, please, I have this even lack energy of I'm really hoping for it to happen, but thank you is just being filled with the gratitude even before it actually happens in our lives. And I'm curious, what do you have in mind? Do you have some examples of ways in which the angels really helped you in a dramatic way? You thought something was not possible, you asked for help, and it happened. Do you have examples of that?
Oh, mighty. I experience miracles from the angels
24/7.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard for me to pin that down, but for whatever reason, a memory is coming up to share of when I was 7 and I was drowning in a river.
Oh, wow.
And I, even at age 7, I was like, okay, the water's above my head. I'm not coming above the water. I surrender. Something in me said, okay, I'm going home to heaven. And the next thing I knew, I felt hands pick me up from the back of my swimsuit. And I didn't move, but I moved. It's the strangest thing.
Wow.
And I heard stand up. And I had been moved about 8 feet in the water back to the shore, but I didn't feel myself moved. And I stood up and the water was at my waist.
Wow, that's incredible.
And there were no people anywhere, by the way. That's why I thought, okay, this is it. It's over. There was no one around. And here I am, I'm 7, and I stand up and I go, what just happened?
That's such a miracle. It's so beautiful. And so what does really happen when we call upon the angels, when they start helping us? What healing energy do they use? Can we use this healing energy on ourselves? How do we do that?
Well, the 12 archangels teach us to use the energy in our spiritual batteries called our chakras. Yes. Even before that, what they ask for us to understand is it looks like we live in a very fixed world. We live in a very, tangible, if you can't touch it, feel it, smell it, taste it, it's not real. But the truth is that we are dreaming our reality into being. And that's how they can get in and rescue 7-year-olds that are trying to drown in a river. So it's important to understand that they work with our soul, which is our divine energy, to help us to immediately sometimes change the reality we are experiencing, to change the dream. And I'm not trying to sound woo-woo with that. It's that once you start to experience angels and you start to experience the unexpected, the unexplainable, then you go, well, maybe there is something to this, that we're not really that much in charge or in control of our lives. What we can do to really make life a whole lot better is to work with the spiritual energy. God's rainbow comes in all the colors of the rainbow. And to work with all of those energies makes a huge difference. So the number one, and you've heard the angels talk about this till you could roll your eyes at us, is good old violet fire, the energy of the crown chakra.
I love that one so much. I use it every day, really.
So violet fire is the energy of forgiveness. And what we human beings do is we store fear and guilt and rage and shame and unworthiness. And I just want to say, especially for those powerful, strong Spanish women, it's incredible what has been stored in that DNA and in those memory banks, that Spanish women in particular are not allowed to have power, to have a voice, to have their own will. So just to be in violet fire with your intention, it's your own crown chakra energy that also comes from Creator's crown chakra, God's crown chakra. I like to call God Mother, Father, God.
Yes.
So when you are in that energy, it reaches, it permeates, it's love, it's purest love. It permeates your cells. It goes into your molecules and your genetics. And it says, I'm going to lift up the fear. I'm going to lift up the powerlessness, the shame and the guilt, and set you free. So, Belinda, these days, I just live in a violet fire river. I just stay there.
So beautiful. I love it so much. And when I was starting to work with the violet fire, when I was just starting the GP, the graduate program with you, at the beginning, I didn't really feel it. So it was all intention and trust. And now I just feel it so much. I can feel it cleaning my cells for some reason. It's really, and the difference, it's amazing from before and after. It can be sometimes 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, really focusing on the violet fire in all the body. And it's just beautiful. Do you have like other colors in mind that people can just start to be working with in a fun and easy way?
So the color that you are wearing is fuchsia.
Yes.
That color very much helps to open the intuition and the intuitive knowing at a very high vibrational way. And fuchsia is very close to ruby and magenta and scarlet, all those beautiful reds and pinks that are part of make up the root chakra energy, which is the divine mother.
Yes.
And so her energy helps us to receive. And her energy, just by being in that beautiful ruby energy, we can drink it in. I like to sleep in it, drink it, and be a dry piece of toast and just completely saturate myself in Divine Mother's ruby love, because her energy fills us with safety. Yes. And these times on Schoolroom Earth, it can be challenging to feel safe as a human being, or to feel secure in being here now. Yes. The angels are very much in, if you want to receive and you're trying to manifest, you need to be here now so that the universe knows where to deliver what you've asked for. And so that ruby energy, it grounds us, it helps us so much to feel safe and secure. And it helps us with our self-esteem and fills us with approval for ourselves, because it can be very challenging, again, certainly for women, to accept our true authentic selves.
Yes.
And to accept that sensitivity and to accept all those feelings and emotions, when to feel sets us free. And I remember you, Mighty, you didn't want to have much to do with feeling in the beginning of the angels.
Yes, I remember
training.
that. I remember that. I remember that time of my life very well, which has been basically most of my life. And I was just about to say how the ruby color helped me so much. I cannot even start to explain how it helped me to be in my feminine side, to be in my emotion, and also to love myself for who I am, because I have been raised with such a life brand perspective, and really I learned not to love myself if I wasn't always performing at the highest level. And really, like, emotion were kind of it was kind of a shame to have emotion. You couldn't really show the emotions in my family and where I grew up. And so just being filled with this color, the ruby color, fuchsia color, which I also love, and feeling it from my toes to my head and taste and head to toe, and just staying there and drinking it. It has made such a difference for my self-esteem and for my self-love, that sometimes, as human, we try to think and to look at things that are more complicated. We don't like it when it's simple. We don't like it when it's easy. So at the beginning I was like, come on, a color, really? That's going to help me? And then I was, okay, that's the real deal. So do you have any other color in mind before I go onto another question? Because I know people are loving this, because it's really so practical and easy to apply.
So one more color, and that's got to be emerald.
Yes.
So a beautiful green of the heart chakra, because this is a magical green. It's the color of Mother Nature in the springtime. And this energy helps us to connect with Creator, connect with Archangel Gaia, who we also know as Mother Earth, helps us to ground, and helps us to connect with that divine inner child, which is a doorway also for receiving and manifesting.
Yes.
That heart chakra opens the heart power. And the heart power is the energy of attracting to us, but at the vibration of pure love, not attracting to us the same old story of heartache and the past. When we connect with that emerald energy, and especially with the divine inner child, then we start to attract in new relationships and friendships and help that we need.
I'm thinking now, as you were saying, attracting and manifesting, of course, the question is, and what about money? Like, it's the $1 million question, right? The number one question. And so what is it about manifesting money, or being open to receive miracles in all areas of life, and also money?
It's very important for human beings to understand some basic truths around money. One is that we have been conditioned, certainly women again, that we're not allowed to have money. This is an old belief, but can definitely be stuck there in the genetics, right?
For sure, for sure.
The male is supposed to provide for us. And
yes.
So, and that men are supposed to control all of the money. So money is a thought form. It has lots of fear in it. So it's very, very, very helpful when you need to receive in financial resources to do this. You just say, thank you, Divine Mother of the great universe, for receiving into my reality above and beyond the financial resources that I need here and now. Now, the words here and now, again, we need to be grounded, because the ego, the part of us that can be terrified so easily, wants to go out, 100 years in the future and say, Who's going to take care of me?
For
so
sure.
definitely receiving through the divine feminine is incredibly helpful for receiving. I keep using the word receiving financial resources, because the angels teach receiving works better than manifesting. Manifesting is part of receiving money. But manifestation can engage the ego and the masculinity, and you can beat yourself up when you're not manifesting enough. And all of that not manifesting enough is an external mirror that says you're not feeling worthy on the inside. There's old belief systems running that say that, you know, you've been taught to believe you're not worthy, you're not good enough. So when you understand that, and you can just be in that good old violet fire, swim in the violet fire river, or take a violet fire shower, that forgiveness knows how to reach those subconscious beliefs and help us to open what the angels call our pipeline for receiving, to help open that up. But to receive through the feminine helps all of humanity, Mighty, because when we receive through the Divine Mother, it raises the vibration of money. And the angels are very clear. If the old male, or the patriarchal male, fears old male, which just means, you know, old past energy. If the old male could stay in control of money, because that's who created it in the first place, he would be perfectly happy. But money needs to come into the hands of the feminine, into the heart of the feminine. That's going to raise the vibration of all currency, no matter its form, whether it's dollars, euros, credit cards, crypto, it doesn't matter. Love raises the vibration of that currency and makes it easier to receive it. That, along with being creative. Creativity is miraculous for helping a human being to receive, because creativity comes from the feminine brain. And so when we are creative, that energy is moving. And again, it just really helps to shift that vibration. We've been taught that, you know, money is the surrogate mother. Right? It can take care of everything, but it doesn't. It doesn't. So
we have it on a pedestal, which makes it such a big deal to manifest at all costs, even our health. And you were talking about creativity. What do you specifically mean about being creative? Because sometimes people think you can just be creative if you're an artist, or if you paint, or if you dance. So how can people be creative in their day-to-day lives?
Creativity asks for us to do something courageous, and it asks for us to do something that brings us joy and is expansive, makes us happy. Creativity can be creating courses. Creativity can be creating cooking up a wonderful meal. It is an energy that helps us to, again, open up. And if we look at what's happened in our world, to be in the feminine brain, as the angels call it, we've been taught that to be creative is a waste of time, a waste of money, and a waste of energy. When we open that part of ourselves just through intention, getting out some crayons is amazing. If you've been taught that you're not allowed to be creative. So you open that door and the energy starts to move, and your self-esteem starts to go up just rather magically. How did that happen? And that helps with receiving, and it helps with manifesting, because it's going to open a door to the creative genius of Creator. And let's say that you have a job that makes you miserable. It's just not feeding your soul. And ideas start to come. Ideas start to come. Ideas that maybe, well, have you ever thought of this new job or working in a new place.
Yes.
That's one thing. But also, you just stay with that creative ideas to have your own business or to find other like-minded, like-hearted people and to create businesses that way. So it becomes quite an incredible experience. So creativity is an energy, it's a gift from the divine feminine.
Yes, which is the color ruby, also we talked about before. And we've been living such an interesting time on the planet Earth, right? For the last 3 years since 2020. Why do we go through such difficult times, sometimes both in our lives and on the planet? And how can we not overcome them, but also make the best out of them? And how can the angels help us do that?
We human beings, this is what the 12 archangels teach us, is we create our reality from the inside out. So we do that with our beliefs, and many of those beliefs are stuck in our subconscious and they're attached to fear. And fear is a very low vibration and it makes us suffer. Bottom line, fear will attract suffering to us, and it creates stories of hardship and lack. Yeah. So when we understand that, then we're really giving the keys to the Creator's heart. And it's that simple. When we start to choose love, just say, I choose love. And instead of buying into the lie that we're victims, we take a new stance and we say, well, what is this teaching me? What is the gift here? Yes. So even such as a migraine headache, right?
Yes.
When we just sure the headache is no fun, but what is the gift of this headache? Why is my body giving this to me? How is it going to help me? And everything changes. Everything begins to change. And so this is how we can move out of suffering as individuals, certainly. But when an individual chooses love and chooses to learn from what we are experiencing, it helps the whole human collective to move forward out of suffering. And no disrespect to religion at all, but definitely in the Catholic faith, the oldest Christian faith, there has been a great deal of what the angels call brainwashing, that suffering is important.
Yes, to connect with God.
Absolutely. If you are going to be like Jesus or close to Jesus, you need to suffer like Jesus suffered.
Yes.
And all of that was some, men who got together and said, well, how can we control the people?
Yeah.
And so the religion really has infused the human being with a great deal of fear.
Yes.
Where Master Jesus is pure love and is going to say, work with your violet fire and live in your heart. So as we forgive the past, let's make it simple. Just having the intention to forgive the past, especially the past we don't know that we have. Miracles start to happen. Life starts to change. Things start to open up. When we say, I forgive the past, especially the past that I don't even know that I have. This is how we change our reality, because we are doing it on the inside, and then life has to change on the outside. There's a divine law. The schoolroom earth has divine laws that look after us human beings. And a big one is the law that says, as above, which is heaven, so below, which is earth. But there's another part to that law. It's as within us, so without us.
Yes.
So when we bring more heaven, which is pure love, purest, highest vibration of love, gratitude is part of that. Truth is part of that. Trust is part of that. Faith. When we bring that vibration in, especially we start to think that way and live that way, our external reality must change for the better, because that's divine law.
Yeah. That's so powerful. And for me, these questions about what can I forgive? Where is the gift? Have completely changed my life in terms of the way I approach problems, because there is really a gift in each one of them. And you can just have such a different perspective that it's not so harsh anymore to go through difficult moments. And so I really would. Okay, I'm thinking about two things I want to say at the same time. So I'm going to say the first one, which is, how can we use the message of the 12 archangels, or Mensajes de los 12 Arcángeles, which is your first book, which has just been translated now in Spanish, to really get to these insights, to these messages, to maybe make it even easier to just apply everything we have been talking about in this interview?
So it's very easy. You take your book. Okay, here's my copy. You
Yes,
take
I
your
have mine
book,
here.
right? And you say, okay, angels, what message do you have for me?
Yes, I love to use it as an oracle.
And you open it and you read where your eyes hit the page. So what do you want
So
to
my
read?
message is, Master have lived and are present in your world, who can visualize what they desire, focus their God force, and have their desire appear in their hands, which is manifestation. I got the message on manifestation. I love that. And I love it. And I love that there are so many messages. There are already also a lot of meditation, really practical tools. So it's very practical and very heavenly, like the energy of it. It's just wonderful just to have it by your side and just feeling the vibration. So it's just a gift for the world that you've been writing this book. And it's available in Latin America and Spain. Where can we buy it? In Amazon, or where? Tell us.
So you can purchase the book anywhere. So Barnes and Noble, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it through the publisher, which is innertraditions.com. You can get it. You can also, the easiest thing to do is really go to your local bookstore. That helps bookstores a lot.
Yeah.
And you just ask to order it and you'll get it very
Perfect.
quickly.
I love it so much. And just before we wrap it up, what message do the 12 archangels and you have for my beautiful community of women around the world and their ability to create their heaven on earth?
Okay. We are the 12 archangels of the central sun. And we say to you that you have far more power than what you have been told that you have. And this is the power of love. And we thank you for being strong women. We acknowledge your strength, so incredibly strong, intuitive, and loving, and persevering. What we encourage you to do is to forgive the past and to hold the prayer. Soul, which is your higher self, Creator, Mother, Father, God, divine oneness. You can pick the words that work best for you. Thank you, Creator, for showing me the way forward, one step at a time, showing me the way forward into greater freedom and greater happiness. This is the way we define true wealth. And this is your birthright. And not only will you find it as you open to receive the power that has always lived within you, you will teach it. You will go out and inspire the women in your family, your sisters, your aunts, your grandmothers, your daughters, to live a different story, a story where you lead and no longer follow because you are free. This is your birthright. And we walk with you. We support you. We guide you. And we encourage you. Beautiful, beautiful women.
Wow, thank you so much. Oh, I felt my heart open really so wide, and even my crown chakra, and I had chills and angel bumps, as we can call it, instead of goosebumps. Thank you so much, Belinda. It's been incredible to have you on the show. I know everyone is enjoying it so as much as we have enjoyed it doing it and recording it. It's such an honor and a pleasure to have you always here and to talk to you. You're just a light for the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you.